It's a brand new season for the World Match Racing Tour, and we're at Yacht Club Point Rouge in Marseille for Match Race France, the first event of the 2011 Tour. Match Race France is the first of 9 events across the globe. 12 teams will be sailing lightweight J80s as they compete for the €50,000 prize purse. World-class sailors will be battling it out on the water, one-on-one, in true match racing style.
Match racing is the most gladiatorial sailing discipline. It pits 2 boats against each other on a very short racecourse. The 2 teams battle for advantage during a 4-minute period before the start gun, then sail upwind to the top mark where they hoist spinnakers. Turning back downwind onto the run to the leeward mark, the spinnakers must be dropped for the second lap. The races usually last 2 or sometimes 3 laps, and the action is umpired on the water using a system of flags. Each boat is assigned a colour, either blue or yellow, and the sailors raise a red and yellow flag to protest if they think their opponent has broken a rule. The umpires announce their decision, raising the appropriate blue or yellow flag to signify the boat that has offended. If a red flag is raised as well, it means the infringement is more severe and the penalty, turning the boat through 3/4 of a circle, must be taken immediately. Otherwise, the penalty can be taken any time before the finish. The first across the finish line is the winner.
As the first event on the tour, Match Race France gives the teams a chance to size each other up, and for those with their eyes on the world title, it's a chance to bag some early points. Here's the lineup of tour card holders attending Match Race France. Phil Robertson with Wacker Racing. We've already had Chris Dixon, Russell Coutts, Dean Barker and Adam Minoprio, so Robertson could be the next in a line of Kiwi world champions. Damien Yell and the French Match Racing team. Yell is a teammate and rival to the Tour's #1 seed, Mathieu Richard. But he's very different in temperament. He'll have to stay cool to better the 8th he achieved on the 2009 Tour. Peter Gilmore with Yanmar Racing. Peter has a combined total of 6 Tour and World Championship titles. But since 2006, he's struggled against the rush of new talent vying for the crown. But with a wealth of experience behind him, Gilmore is still in with a chance. Jesper Radic with the newly named Adrian Lee and Partners Racing team. Radic is a former Tour champion and made a strong comeback on the match racing scene last year, appearing in the finals in Germany, Sweden and Bermuda. Now he's back, and this year he's serious about winning it all. Ian Williams and Team GAC Pindar. Williams dominated the Tour for 2 years, winning the world title in 2007 and 2008. He suffered a dip in form over the last few years, but he's back this year with a new crew. He started the season at a cracking pace, winning both his warm-up events, the Spanish Open and the Congressional Cup. Torvar Mirsky with the Wave Muscat Racing team. Mirsky was 3rd on last year's Tour and 2nd the year before that. But he's been one of match racing's promising young stars for long enough. This year, he needs to convert that promise into a title. We caught up with Torvar to give him a pre-season grilling.
Hi, I'm Torvar Mirsky, 24 years old, and I'm Australian. 80 kilos, 182 centimetres. I'm from Fremantle, Western Australia, and I live out of a suitcase. Good group of friends, and I like the lifestyle. I like the team aspect to match racing. It's a team attitude. Leadership. I like a lot of outdoor activities like windsurfing, kite surfing, skiing is a new hobby. A lot of things water related and just outdoors. I guess I'd probably be an engineer. The 60s in California. Really nice looking girl in the Mediterranean on a super yacht.
Torvar Murski has shed his young gun status, and with podium finishes last year, he's more than ready for a world title. He's sailing with the same tight team as 2010, and with a new sponsor on board, this could be his year.
We are super excited, super pumped to get out there and start racing again. This year we're called the Wave Muscat. The Wave Muscat have come on board and sponsored us for the 2011 season. We've traditionally been one of the poorer teams and just built up on our own backs this reputation of being quite professional and doing a good job with not much resources. So now that we have the support to do it properly, this year will be a lot easier for us, and we're hoping that support will transfer into better results. We've got the same team as we did last year, so building on that experience and hoping that we can produce a better than ever performance. We need to be able to win events this year. We've in our careers only won one match racing event, World Match Racing Tour event, and we've won multiple second places and finals. So we would like to change that record and make it wins. And we feel that this season we're going to be one of the strong teams. It's all about winning this year and sailing to a level higher than we ever have before.
Lots of skippers focus on winning each individual event, but Murski's keeping his thoughts on the bigger picture.
Specific events, wins is not so important. We're looking for the overall, being consistent, having solid results at each event, and just doing the best we can. We feel like we're going to be sailing better than we were last year. We've had some time to work together as a team over the years, and we're just getting better and better. And I think that's the goal, is to improve ultimately, so that we can make our way into the America's Cup and other sailing disciplines as well. There are lots of teams this year that are a huge threat for us. Some new tour card teams and some new young guys. I'd see that Matthew Richard and Ian Williams are always going to be really tough teams to beat. And Matthew's probably learning from his experiences last year and will be another strong guy. And I expect to see Jesper Radic fighting up there at the top. Francesco Bruni, basically you can list all the guys can win events, and it's just going to be about who's going to be the most consistent till the end of the year. Marseille for us is all going to be about building our team up again. It's been 6 months since the last event, the Monsoon Cup, and we're just going to have to try and get the cobwebs out. Traditionally the J80s for us have been quite good. I feel like we're quite fast in these boats, and it's just probably been some small little technical things that we haven't won. So I feel like we're going to be strong in the J80, and we're feeling good. We've just got to get the rust out, and hopefully we're in tune to make the quarters and go from there.
An important element of match racing is being able to sail a variety of different boats quickly. We caught up with Jesper Radic to talk us through the J80s, the boat of choice for Match Race France.
Yeah, so first event here in Match Race France, sailing in the J80s, and it's quite a challenge for a team like mine because we're all new here, and it's a very technical boat. It's a 4-person boat driven by a tiller. It's really light on the helm. It's a light boat. When we race boats like these with asymmetric spinnakers, there's obviously going to be some passing lanes downwind because the jibes you got, the jibbing angles just makes it a good time to attack as a trailing boat. It's really important that you focus on the conditions you're actually racing in. It's really sensitive that in light breeze you do set up for light breeze sailing, which means the way you set up your crew work, the crew weight, and the way that you trim your sails. For heavy breeze, obviously you need to really focus on get the boat surfing, not heeling too much, flat sails, big hike, and I expect the start's going to be really important here, and then secondary the downwind sailing. So it's a very sensitive boat for conditions. We were successful last year, making 3 finals out of 4, and unfortunately I had to change my crew a little bit through those 4 regattas, and my goal for this year has been very much to try to stick with the same guys. It is pretty hard because you need to have a big commitment from a big group of guys to actually do all these events, and that's been a challenge. I'm not going to succeed this year either. I will have to make some crew changes, but I think it's big key that you actually stay together and learn together, because I think the level that all the teams, including my own, is going to race at here is going to be, at a certain level. But through the season, everyone's going to get better. So the key is actually to learn together as a team. I think at this stage, it's actually hard for me to say who are the biggest, who are the favorites on the tour at the moment, because I think we'll know a lot more after this first regatta. With my team this season, we actually didn't do any practice. We just went straight into racing one regatta. It was the Marseille one 2 months ago. We haven't done any practice together, so it's kind of a wild shot to go straight into the tour, but I think we actually worked pretty well together, and none of us really had time to put in the practice hours before this regatta, so we are really focused, and this is the first regatta out of a few, and I would say our dream goal is to win the tour. That's what we agreed on, that I think we got the potential. I know there's a lot of other teams that's going to try to stop us, but we're in this to make a podium, we're in this to try to win. And I think we've got a reasonable chance if we are able to lift our game, because we need to lift our game to match the other guys, I think. A few teams actually have a good shot at it, and it all depends how do they get it all together when it matters.
Welcome back to Marseille for Match Race France. Marseille is an old city with a rich heritage, home to the largest commercial port in France, and having been positioned on an important trading route for many years, Marseille is a melting pot of different cultures, both old and new. All the sailing action will be taking place off Yacht Club Point Rouge in the Mediterranean Sea. We caught up with some of the French skippers to get their take on the conditions ahead of the first qualifying session.
It's very, very important the first day, because the pressure is here. The first match is very important, and the second match, if you start very good, it's easier for the head to continue and to take the step by step. You don't know exactly the day what is possible to finish the match, is it good or not. It's difficult, yeah.
This year we probably have a light wind for the beginning. So I think we need to be good in the light, so use well the boat, do all tacking very well, and after have a good strategy.
I think for us it's a good event of the World Tour, because we know this boat, we know the ride of Marseille, so we hope do a good, very good result.
I think everybody can beat everybody, so the game is quite open. So the first step is to go to the quarter-final, and is what we look for at this stage. We'll see.
So with the good light breeze, the day's racing got underway. Ian Williams started with all the promise of a double world champion, winning his first race of the day against Peter Gilmore.
We had a pretty close race there. I think we didn't quite get the start strategy we wanted, but we got the benefit of the bias on the line. So when we were going back to the boat, we were close forward, whereas he was reaching down to the pin. I think the interesting thing is that obviously the race was pretty much decided on the penalty at the top mark. So I'm caught the whole way! Flagging! Hoist! Oh, come on, guys!
Yeah, the top mark was probably where it was sealed. We just got a piece of him at the top. I felt quite strongly that if he hadn't infringed there, we would have been ahead in the race, and his infringement put him ahead, which is a change of control, and it should be a red flag. So that's what we were calling for. But you know, the umpires, they're there to call it. That's their job. And you know, I think either way, obviously we won the race. I think we had a bit more speed, particularly upwind, and that came good for us.
We had a pretty shabby approach to the bottom mark, and that got them around in front of us. You know, I think in this level we just can't be doing that. So it was all in all a good race. Not that unhappy with it. You know, just would rather a point rather than no points.
Also in Flight 1, Torvar Mirsky lost his first race against Alexis Litos-Baratel and went on to lose his second race in a row in Flight 2 against Bertrand Passé. Not a good start to the day for Torvar. But Mirsky wasn't the only top seed taking an early loss. Jesper Radek lost his second match to Pierre-Antoine Morvan.
That was second race of our World Matchfishing Tour season, and unfortunately we lost it. Tough race. We got a little early into the pre-start area. We got for the final approach. He pushed us hard, and we were not able to, stay off his attacks. And he won the start. We got a penalty, and it was over. From there on, it was really hard.
Morvan went on to take another big name down in Flight 3 when he beat Williams. And Torvar Mirsky finally got into his stride, beating Bjorn Hansen. Mirsky's success continued when he beat Phil Robertson, levelling his scores at 2 wins and 2 losses. Another man overcoming a poor start was Francesco Bruni, who after losing to Morvan in Flight 4, found himself in a drama-filled match against Hansen in Flight 5.
Yeah, it was an interesting race, the one with Bjorn today. He had a better start than us. He managed to go left, which is what we wanted, so we were not happy with our start. At the first cross, he was ahead. We managed to keep the race close. First downwind, we went closer and closer, and we thought we had an overlap on the 2 ball lengths zone at the bottom mark. But the umpires judged that we were just outside it, so it was a starboard and port situation, and it was a penalty for us, a red penalty for us. So from being again in control, we went back again. We did the penalty all right, and we were 2 lengths behind. Again, we did a good upwind. We were right behind him at the top mark. We did a jibe set. The race was fully on until the last, really. We were ahead just by a bit on this last downwind, and we won the race. We won the race not by much.
So the scores halfway through the day looked like this. Bjorn Hansen was trailing the pack, having lost all of his matches, and the 2 Frenchmen, Damien Yell and Bertrand Passé, having won both of theirs. Bruni breaks his level scoring in Flight 6, winning his match against Jesper Radek, and then goes on to secure a 3rd win in Flight 7 when he raced against Peter Gilmore.
Yeah, nice point against Peter. It's always nice to win against him. You're always scared about him. He has so much experience. We had a good start. We had a good separate right, but sometimes it doesn't work in light wind, and we just managed to get to the ley line and to tack on ley line. He was almost around our bow. It was a very marginal one. We tack on ley line. He followed us on the top mark, and we stretched well on the first downwind, so the game went a little bit easier for the second lap.
Clearly on a winning streak, Bruni scores a hat-trick, winning against Alvaro Marinho, making him 1 win away from an almost certain place in the quarter-finals. Since his defeat against Bruni in Flight 6 and Damien Yell in Flight 7, fellow top seed Radek had his back against the wall when he met Robertson in Flight 8.
Race against Phil Robertson, we came off the line as we wanted the left-hand side. We had a lead at the first crossing. We thought it'd be more actually, but we had a lead, that was fine. Leading at the windward mark, about 2-3 boat lengths. But then he came kind of crawling back from behind, and he actually rolled us in the first downwind. Second downwind, we was all about just trying to keep it close. He did extend a little bit, but we were still kind of in the fight. Second downwind was completely opposite the first one. We came with a little bit of pressure. We started the jibing duel, and then we just managed to pass him on the last third of that second down. So a nice win for us.
On 2-3, Radek suffered a final loss in his last race of the day, leaving him with 2 wins and 4 losses at the end of the first qualifying session. Wildcard Alvaro Marinho, the man responsible for Jesper's defeat in Flight 9, found himself on 5 wins and 1 loss, a very strong start for the Portuguese skipper. The only man that could beat Marino's score was Damien Yell, but he lost his flight to Peter Gilmore, finishing on 5-1. Bruni could have finished the day on 5 wins and 1 loss, but finished with 4 wins and 2 losses after losing to Passe in Flight 9. So all eyes were on the second qualifying session to see who could pull ahead and who could be in trouble. The next day, we caught up with Ian Williams and Torvar Mirsky to see what they made of yesterday's events and if they'll be changing tactics in a bid for more points.
Well, yesterday morning we didn't quite realise, but it seemed the French teams did, that the left side of the course was very favoured. There's a little bit of current, and the way the wind is on the land, affected by the land. So after losing those 2 matches to the French, when they had the left side of us, we put our foot down and made sure we won that in the pre-start. After we won the left side, we were able to control the match, which we did for the next 2. I feel today's going to be a similar day, so it's just sort of putting into practice the little techniques and subtleties of the boat, you know, how much it turns, how fast it accelerates, you know, what the course is like here, all those things that we need to get our grips on. Not so worried about particular matches today. It's you know, just trying to see the form of all the teams, see who's sailing well, see who's not, and you know, trying to have a solid day to make sure we make the quarterfinals. Once we make the quarters, then you know, it'll be about who's sailing who and making sure you're prepared to take them down to make the knockout phases.
A tough day for us for sure on Team GAC Pindar. We had a couple of close over the line calls which cost us 2 of the matches, and then in the last one we just struggled for a little bit of speed off the line in the choppy water. So when the sea conditions changed, the water got quite lumpy, and we really struggled to get the boat going in the choppier conditions, and that's what really hurt us. Honestly, we actually often don't even look at who we're sailing in the next race. We focus on our game. We work out which end we are and which start we are, and we look at the course and work out what we want to do, and just trying to get to that magic 6 points. But of course, it's a long way to go. We need to make the top 8 out of 12. So if we can get to 5, we've got a good chance, and if we can get to 6, I think we'll be okay.
Another tour card holder needing some more wins was Jesper Radek. He started the day at a good pace, winning his first race against Peter Gilmore in Flight 10, with Gilmore having crossed the line early in the pre-start.
Yeah, we were OCS there. It's just can't afford to do that at this level. It was pretty tight, maybe within a second, I think, and just needed to dig a little deeper on that last dip down. That was the race. The distance we were behind off the line was the distance at the finish.
Torvar Mirsky had a cracking start, defeating Alvaro Marinho in Flight 11. Next in line for Torvar was his old mentor and current nemesis, Peter Gilmore.
Peter Gilmore is you know, one of those guys who just, you never know what's going to happen, and you know, we've raced him many times now, and every time it's just something new that he brings up. He managed to really nail out that left side, and we were trying to chase him up, and he got around us, and we were just on his tail the whole time, and we tried to pull off a little finishing move where we were sort of rolling him on the starboard into the finishing line, and he had control of us. He was deciding when we're turning back to the finishing line, but I tried to quickly jibe and hit him, basically, try to do a Peter Gilmore to himself. So it didn't work. It was just a desperate attempt at trying to finish, and Peter did a great job and got around in front of us.
Flight 13 13 saw a pivotal match between Mirsky and Williams, both needing a win to regain some momentum.
Really good race against Ian Williams for our team. Another tour card holder is always really tough contender.
Torvar did a nice job, and although we managed to win the left, which we felt was favoured, he just had a little bit more speed at start time. He defended the right pretty hard and did a nice job of sailing fast and smooth, and was able to, I guess, just draw away a little bit around the course.
Just really happy to have a solid race against him, keep it smooth, and the boys did a good job hiking and making sure we're going fast, and that was the winning tick against Ian.
Flight 14 sees Radek losing to Mirsky, boosting Mirsky's score to 5 wins and 3 losses. Meanwhile, Williams suffers another loss in his race against Passe and must now win all of his remaining races to get through to the quarters. Just when he needed to, Williams came back from the brink, winning his next 2 races.
Well, we've gone 2 and 3 today. Again, not a very good day, but looks like it might just be good enough if we come out fighting tomorrow.
Mirsky blazed through his next 2 matches against Bruni and Yell, ending the day on a positive note.
Yeah, we had a really solid day today on day 2. I think it's 5 wins, 1 loss. So really pleased with the boys today and how we performed. Like I said, we were a bit rusty yesterday with some of our cobwebs in our team from not sailing for a while together. So got the feel of the boat quite good today, and pleased that we'll be in the quarterfinals.
The final flight of the qualifying stage took place the next morning and would decide the lineup for the quarterfinals. With Jesper Radek, Torvar Mirsky and Damien Yell already through, the remaining tour card holders were waiting with bated breath to see how things would play out.
Yeah, not such a good day for Team GAC Pindar. We had just the 1 race which we had to win against Bjorn. We didn't, so now we're on our way home. I think today certainly Bjorn won the start. He won the left-hand side of the course, which was pretty heavily favoured. So all credit to him. He did a really nice job of controlling the last moments at the start, and he managed to get both boats very slow, which suddenly put his more upwind advanced position, made it a strength rather than a weakness. So for us, we needed to keep the boats going fast. We tried to go for the penalty with the luff and didn't get it, and that put the boat slow, and suddenly that gave him the advantage. It's been a tough regatta for us. We managed to draw the same boat 2 days in a row and did 10 races in the same boat, which we really struggled to get going. But in the end, it was all, today wasn't at all about the boat. It was just us making a silly mistake.
It was always tough because we were way early though for the boat, for the pin as well at that point. So I think we needed to actually come down and build a little earlier. Sorry about that.
Next event for us is Korea. So we'll go away and regroup, and Korea is traditionally a strong event for us. So we're looking forward to hopefully coming back strong there.
Another tour card holder out before the quarterfinals was Phil Robertson.
I guess we started fairly well. I think you're always trying to keep 1 race ahead of losses, I guess, throughout the whole regatta, and we managed to stay at 50% basically the whole regatta until the last race. So yeah, it just sucks to start the tour like this, to be knocked out of the first event. So yeah, especially the way we went out, when you lose out of tie break to 2 other guys, to be knocked out of the top 8, it's pretty tough to take. And yeah, the boys will be fighting really hard, I think, now. There'll be a lot more hunger than what we've had in the past, probably. Just every race is a really, really important one. Whereas you make a mistake and you lose a race and you think, oh well, we can pick it up in the next one. But really, in the long run, it's not that case. You can't lose any races, and every race that you've got a chance to win, you must win. So I think that's the biggest thing, and there'll definitely be a bit more emotion going into the next one, I think.
So with the lineup decided, it was on to the boat draw to see who would be racing who and in which boats.
We've got our 8 quarter-finalists. We've got Mirsky, Eel, Passe, Morvan, Bruni, Radic, Gilmore and Mourinho.
Lying at the top of the leaderboard, Torvar Mirsky got to choose his quarter-final opponent first, and he selected Alvaro Mourinho.
Last year we won the round robin here as well, and winning here means that we just have to be careful, not get ahead of ourselves when we pick someone. So we've just simply gone for the 8th place person after the round robin and not really thought a lot about it. And we haven't had a chance to, and we're just going to go out there and do our best. It's just about making sure our team's got a good positive mood on it and taking each step one at a time. The boats are very subtle with the way you handle them, with the weight movements, and if you're not all working together, you're not going to go fast. So I think our team's in good form and we're just ready to race.
So match 1 of the quarter-finals saw Torvar Mirsky against Alvaro Mourinho, and Mirsky wiped the board with 3 straight wins. Next to choose was Damien Yell, and he selected Peter Gilmore as his quarter-final opponent. Yell managed to knock Gilmore out of the quarter-finals, winning 3 out of 4 drama-filled races. The next quarter-final pairing saw Bertrand Passé racing Pierre-Antoine Morvan. Passé won his first 2 races, and although Morvan managed a win in Flight 3, Passé took Flight 4, going through to the semi-finals. The final pairing left to race was Jesper Radic against Francesco Bruni, and it was a pairing that sparked an interesting reaction.
Bruni and I have a little bit of a story from last year because we raced him twice in the quarters last year, and we beat him both times, and he really didn't like it. It was very close. There was 3-2, so it was, it's going to be very close racing, and it's been. We enjoyed racing each other. It's a very, very tough opponent, and we have to do our best to win.
So in match 4 of the quarterfinals, Jesper Radic versus Francesco Bruni.
So race 1 against Francesco Bruni in the quarterfinal. It was actually a lot of what decided in the start because we had a really strong starting position. We managed to push him outside the race committee boat. He was not able to tag inside, so he had to go outside, and that actually had to make a full a penalty turn. So for that, it was really hard for him to come back. So we tried to gate as much distance as we could. In the end, he came back a little bit, but it was all clear and a good win for us.
Radic goes on to win Flight 2 and Flight 3, securing a place in the semi-finals and sending Francesco Bruni home.
So race 3 in the quarterfinals against Francesco Bruni. We again were working hard to get the left-hand side. It looked like it would be really strong. I was fighting a lot to get it, and I actually gave a little bit away in the start just to make sure I got it. That meant that he was actually strong out of the starting line, but we had the left-hand side we wanted. And from there on, we were just slowly squeezing him off, pushed him to the right. We went really hard left and had a strong lead at the first mark. And from then on, I think he probably lost faith a little bit in the project, and we basically sailed away to a victory.
So going through to the semi-finals was Torvar Mirsky, Damien Yell, Bertrand Passé and Jesper Radic. Join us after the break to see who makes it through to the finals and who goes on to win Match Race France. Welcome back to Match Race France. The quarterfinals have seen 3 tour card holders through to the semis, and with the race committee anxious about the sailing conditions over the next few days, they decided to push on with the first 2 races of the semi-finals. Torvar Mirsky chose to race Bertrand Passé. They managed to squeeze in 2 of their races before the end of the day. Torvar talks us through his first race.
Race 1 against Bertrand, the wind changed and it was quite shifty. It was coming from the mountains here in Marseille, and the wind is all over the place. So we actually wanted the left, but it ended up with the right off the start. So it was a little bit of a fluke, but that's the way it goes. We made the most of it and got a nice shift, which we're able to extend with around the course and just kept him behind us.
Having gained an injury in the pre-start of race 2, Mirsky struggled to keep focused and Passé took the win. Torvar's choice of opponent left Jesper Radic racing Damien Yell for a place in the finals. They also managed 2 races before the end of the day, and both were full of drama. Radic won his first race, but lost the second, levelling the scores.
So in the second race against Damien, we wanted to go left. We wanted to have the control in the pre-start, and we got both, so it was perfect. He had to dip behind us. Unfortunately, we actually got that one wrong because it was the right-hand side paying off, and in the end he was able to make small gains on the right-hand side, first upwind. It got close on the downwind, full-on jibing duel and lots of action, but that's how it is match racing. Second upwind, he went really hard right, and it was the right thing to do. He had a decent lead at second upwind mark, and we couldn't really do any more. I mean, that's how sailing is sometimes. You'll never get everything right because the wind is, you know, just has a little bit of unpredictability in it, and it happens. That's why you sail to more than one point in designing races, I think.
So as the day drew to a close, all the semi-finalists were poised at 1-1. The next morning dawned with a sense of anticipation. There was no racing during the morning, and the sailors had to wait for good breeze to pick up before they could start racing. By lunchtime, the conditions had improved and the sailing got underway. Murski gained an advantage over Passé in the third flight of the semi-finals, bringing the score to 2-1. Flight 4 saw Passé levelling the scores for a second time, leaving a 5th and final semi-final race that Torvar needed to win to get through to the finals.
Flight 5 against Bertrand Passé, the decider. We received a penalty in the dial-up. We were on the starboard side and we decided we wanted to go forwards and attack Bertrand. He went onto the same tack as us and we had a collision. We felt that we were going forwards and he didn't do enough to keep clear of us, but the umpires, as it is in those difficult conditions, decided to penalise us. Anyway, we won the start and were able to actually, in the tricky conditions, able to get rid of the penalty and stay ahead. And then on the downwind, while ahead, Bertrand did a great job and started to roll us on starboard after a jibe, and we luffed to stop him from rolling us, and he received a red flag penalty, and so that put us back ahead again. Around the bottom mark, we were quite slow just defending, being inside at the bottom mark, and Bertrand behind us had a bit more speed and was able to take the right that we couldn't protect, and the wind went right, which unfortunately for us was the end basically. Bertrand in his home country goes through.
So Torvar Murski goes out of the competition. Meanwhile, in the other semi-final match, Jesper Radic raced against Damien Yell. Yell took the win, bringing the score to 2-1 and leaving a 4th must-win race for Radic.
Last match in the semi-finals, we were having a tough battle with Damien. We wanted the right-hand side and we ended up getting it slightly late on the line because he was pushing us really hard. We were happy with the right-hand side and we were just marginally leading at the first crossing, but he was just able to, in that light breeze, to put a good leap out tag and just actually squeeze us off pretty nicely. He did a very good job, and you can really see that they sail these boats really well. That ended up being impossible for us to live. He was leading at the first mark, and from then on he was basically extending. So a difficult race for us, a good job from their team, and they definitely deserve to win that semi.
So Match Race France sees an all-French final, with new tour card holder Damien Yell and his French match racing team racing against Bertrand Passé and the Aleph sailing team. We join the first race of the final, commentated by Andy Green.
Passé in red near the committee boat. Damien Yell to leeward with the blue mainsail. Passé bears away, comes down. Oh, Yell's got him banked to rights here. It's going to be close. I don't think they quite hit, but boy, that was close and a very risky move from Bertrand Passé trying to get back into the start, and that is a clear penalty, blue flag against Bertrand Passé. 40 seconds to go now, and Passé still looks like he's in a bit of trouble. Damien Yell has got the measure of this pre-start. Yell tacks just underneath Passé, pushing Passé towards the line. Remember, you can't be over the line. If you're over, you have to come back and recross. Another flag on the play. EL is furious about that. He tells Passé to attack immediately. What have the umpires got to say? Well, it's green flag, so no penalty. EL stays with one penalty up, but as the time runs down towards the start, there goes the gun, and Passé, look, has turned this around, and that was a risky move that EL pulled, trying to get a penalty, a double penalty. If he'd have got that, Passé would have had to have done one immediately, and the race effectively would have been over. So maybe the risk worth taking, but it means that Damien EL is now behind. His only advantage is Passé has to complete a penalty before the finish. Down to the leeward mark, and Passé has got a 14-second advantage. Not quite enough to do the penalty. He'll need to extend that to more like 21, 22 seconds to be able to complete attack when you're going downwind, or a jibe when you're going upwind. The hoist a little late, Tanguy Carriou hoisting up the spinnaker. Not great from Passé, and as a result of him not being able to extend his lead, the only option open to Bertrand Passé is to slow the game down and try and force a penalty on Damien EL. But as close as they get to the finishing line, it becomes more and more tricky to be able to do that. Time is running out for Bertrand Passé. It's basically a trap that Passé is trying to lay right next to the committee boat, so that Damien EL will come outside Passé, and Passé will be able to force him out, try and complete his penalty, or push a penalty on EL and then finish before him. Very difficult manoeuvre he's trying to achieve here. So jibs go up, spinnakers are coming down because they're right by the finishing line. Now Passé's actually taken them beyond the committee boat. That is the right thing to do, and now he's coming back upwind. He needs to complete attack or get a penalty on Damien EL, and they're going back and forth. It's push and shove, and EL is trying to keep clear. Passé is trying to force him into a mistake. Back and forth, down again. Very close. Committee boat straight ahead. They've got to go around the bow of the committee boat. Passé just trying to squeeze it around. This looks good for Passé right now. If he's able to luff now, he's got to luff. He's got to go right up into the eye of the wind. He may have got a little further than the eye of the wind. That's what the rules say. What have the umpires got to say about it? Right behind. Blue flag. The umpires were right there in the thick of the action. So Passé gets another penalty, and first blood in the final goes to Damien EL.
Yes! Super les gars.
The second race of the final saw Yel win the right-hand side and lead all the way around, making him the winner of Match Race France.
Yes! 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 Yes!
Damien EL crosses the finish line to win Match Race France.
So winning the first event of the World Match Racing Tour and scooping the €10,000 prize was tour card holder Damien EL.
First event, first win. It's perfect. And, the World Tour is very long, and the final is not here now. And the first event, it's perfect to win here, but it's very long, and you stay very focused, step by step, and we will see.
It's great to finish on a win. We finished the opening event of the World Match Racing Tour in third place. Last year we managed to get lots of fourths and not many thirds, so I think that little step up is a sign of improvement from us.
Oh, we had a really great regatta. I have to admit, disappointing to lose most of the races on the last day, but that's how our life goes. It's our first event together, this team. I mean, if we'd sailed the same level today as we did yesterday, we would have done better, but there's a lot of racing still to go before the end of this series, so I'm happily surprised to make the semis on our first regatta together, and looking forward to the next one.
Having won the first event, Damien Yell and his team have earned themselves 25 points, a strong start on their quest for the world title. In third place, Torvar Mirsky has also started the season in a good position with 19 points, and Radek's hot on his heels with 16 points. Ian Williams finds himself at the bottom of the leaderboard in 10th place, going into the next event with 2 tour points. The next stop on the ISAF World Match Racing Tour is in Langenhagen for Match Race Germany. Don't miss it.